Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, has condemned recent bomb attacks involving thousands of the group's communication devices, describing them as a declaration of war. In a televised address, Nasrallah accused Israel of crossing all red lines by targeting Hezbollah's pagers and radios, leading to multiple explosions across Lebanon. This attack, which Lebanese authorities say killed 37 people and injured 3,000, represents a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict between Hezbollah and Israel, raising fears of a broader war in the region. Chapter 1. The impact of the device attacks. The attacks on Hezbollah's communication network were described as a serious and unprecedented blow to the group. According to reports, the explosions occurred on the 17th and 18th of September 2024, when pagers and walkie-talkies used by Hezbollah members detonated almost simultaneously across the country. The Lebanese Health Ministry confirmed that 12 people, including 2 children, were killed in the initial blast on the 19th of September 2024, and an additional 25 people died in the subsequent explosion of walkie-talkies the following day. Nasrallah's speech emphasized that this incident marked a severe security breach for Hezbollah, whose members rely heavily on these devices for communication. The coordinated nature of the explosions suggests that Israeli intelligence operatives, possibly in coordination with local collaborators, planted small amounts of explosives inside the devices or their batteries. The level of sophistication involved in this operation indicates a well-planned effort to disrupt Hezbollah's internal communications. Chapter 2. Response from Hezbollah and Lebanon. Despite acknowledging the severity of the attack, Nasrallah maintained a defiant tone, vowing that Hezbollah would continue to fight and impose what he called just punishment on Israel. He warned that Hezbollah's response would be harsh, but also indicated that the group was not seeking to escalate the conflict further, at least for the time being. This restrained approach reflects the group's broader strategy of maintaining a balance between retaliation and avoiding an all-out war with Israel. Nasrallah's statement that Hezbollah's cross-border attacks would continue unless there was a ceasefire in Gaza underscores the interconnectedness of regional conflicts. Hezbollah, which has been supporting the Palestinian armed group Hamas in its fight against Israel, sees its actions as part of a broader struggle against what it considers Israeli aggression. Chapter 3. Israel's position and military actions. While Israel has not officially claimed responsibility for the explosions, the Israeli military has stated that it is operating to degrade Hezbollah's terrorist capabilities and infrastructure, and to bring security to northern Israel. This rhetoric suggests a willingness to intensify operations against Hezbollah as part of a broader military strategy that could include expanding the conflict into southern Lebanon. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and other senior military officials have hinted at the possibility of creating an Israeli-controlled buffer zone inside southern Lebanon, a move that would be seen as a significant escalation. Such a move would likely provoke a strong response from Hezbollah, as Nasrallah has made it clear that any attempts by Israel to establish control over Lebanese territory would have dire consequences. Chapter 4. The broader context. The recent device attacks come after 11 months of cross-border fighting between Hezbollah and Israel, which were initially sparked by the war in Gaza. This prolonged conflict has resulted in hundreds of deaths, most of them Hezbollah fighters, and the displacement of tens of thousands of people on both sides of the border. Hezbollah, which is backed by Iran and designated as a terrorist organization by Israel, the UK, and other countries, has been acting in support of Hamas, another group targeted by Israel in the Gaza conflict. The ongoing violence has left Lebanon on edge, with the latest attacks exacerbating an already tense and unstable situation. The explosions of the communication devices not only caused widespread panic, but also raised concerns about the vulnerability of Hezbollah's security infrastructure. Chapter 5. Reactions from the international community. The international response to the attacks has been mixed. While some countries have condemned the violence, Others have focused on the need for restraint to prevent further escalation. The United States, for instance, while not directly addressing the device attacks, has called for de-escalation and respect for Lebanon's sovereignty. Iran, Hezbollah's main backer, has also weighed in, blaming Israel for the attacks and vowing to respond. The Iranian ambassador to Lebanon was reportedly injured in one of the explosions, prompting Iran to inform the United Nations that it holds Israel responsible and is preparing a response. This development highlights the potential for the conflict to draw in other regional powers, further complicating the already volatile situation. Chapter 6. The psychological impact on Lebanon. The psychological impact of the device attacks on the Lebanese population cannot be underestimated. The explosions, which occurred in residential areas, supermarkets, and even during a funeral, have shattered the sense of security that many Lebanese had, even in areas far from the front lines in southern Lebanon. The Lebanese people, already struggling with economic and political instability, now face the added fear of being caught in the crossfire of a renewed conflict between Hezbollah and Israel. In Hezbollah strongholds like the southern suburbs of Beirut, there is a palpable sense of unease. While some residents remain defiant, expressing support for Hezbollah's resistance, others are frustrated with Nasrallah's leadership and are calling for a more decisive response. This internal pressure could influence Hezbollah's next moves, as the group balances the need to maintain its image of strength with the desire to avoid a war that could be devastating for Lebanon. Chapter 5. Strategic implications for Hezbollah. The attack on Hezbollah's communication network highlights a critical vulnerability in its command and control, which Israel has shown it can exploit. This may compel Hezbollah to reconsider its reliance on electronic communication devices. Former Israeli officials have suggested that the operation targeting Hezbollah's communication devices was likely a multi-phase effort involving the study of Hezbollah's supply chain and the manipulation of its procurement processes. This kind of sophisticated operation suggests that Israel is willing to take significant risks to disrupt Hezbollah's capabilities, even if it means escalating the conflict in the short term. Chapter 6. The path ahead. The current situation remains highly volatile. While both Hezbollah and Israel appear to be avoiding a full-scale war for now, the potential for miscalculation is high. Any further attacks or retaliations could quickly spiral out of control, drawing in other regional actors like Iran and potentially leading to a broader conflict. Hezbollah must respond in a way that maintains its reputation without triggering an overwhelming Israeli reaction. Meanwhile, Israel aims to weaken Hezbollah, but must avoid a prolonged conflict that could destabilize its northern border. Totally, the device attacks and their aftermath have brought the region to a dangerous crossroads. As both sides weigh their options, the possibility of a new phase of conflict looms large, with potentially devastating consequences for Lebanon, Israel, and the wider Middle East. Totally, the device attacks and their aftermath have brought the region to a dangerous crossroads. As both sides weigh their options, the possibility of a new phase of conflict looms large on the horizon. What do you think about this escalating situation? How might it affect Lebanon, Israel, and the wider Middle East? We want to hear your thoughts on these tensions that could reshape the geopolitical landscape. Share your insights below. Do you believe this could lead to broader regional instability or perhaps forced diplomatic negotiations? How do you see the international community responding to this crisis? Let us know how you think this conflict might unfold in the coming weeks and months. Your voice is essential in this conversation.